Hey everyone, welcome to another tutorial video. So for today, we are going to create a hand lettering piece of a quote. So for this style, it's going to be a very casual hand lettering type. We're not going to draw a lot of guides. We're not going to do a lot of pre-planning. We just want to have fun and enjoy the process of creating without having to overthink the details on how we're going to create our lettering piece. So I hope you are excited. All you need is a sheet of paper and a pen. So I'm using this Tombow Fudenosuke. Is it focusing? Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen. The reason why I love using this is because I could draw both thick and thin lines by adjusting the pressure. So I don't need to bring or prepare a lot of different point sizes of drawing pen because I could just use this one pen and just play with the pressure and get both thick and thin lines. That's how I am able to create some contrast for my lettering work. I have here this verse, Proverbs 1:7, and this is what I'm going to be creating today. And today's video is going to be a real-time draw along type of video. So feel free to join in, grab a piece of paper and your favorite pen or favorite marker, then just draw along with me. You can create this quote exactly as how I'm going to do it. Or if you want to work on a different quote, you are most welcome to use a different quote. You can just follow the lettering styles that I'm going to choose for my project and then use those styles to create your quote. So this is what we're going to do today. And I also have here this lettering style collection. So this is my new guide that I just launched last year or just before Christmas. And as you can see, it is a guide with a lot of different lettering styles. So you have here, let me just go to a certain page, like for example here. So you have like a sample image of the different styles that you use. And then you have the style and some descriptions and some examples and how you can modify the style in order to create a lot more different ways. And you also have like the A to Z guide and step-by-step guide on how to draw the letters, because sometimes it is important to follow the order of the stroke in order to be able to draw your letters properly. And especially with the more complex styles, you may want to break it down into several steps so that it's not going to be too overwhelming for you to draw or to try a new style. So yeah, this collection, it has 24 different styles that you can learn. And yeah, so I just printed this on my own, but you could get the PDF file or the ebook on my website. I'll put the link in the description below. But for now, let's get started. So for this one, usually I just go through the quote several times, and then I try to pick which words I want to emphasize. Okay. So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So I think fear and Lord are going to be emphasized, and then knowledge as well. In beginning as well. Maybe fools despise. Okay. After this, I'll just do like a quick sketch. It's not really about planning every single step. It's more of for me to be able to have an idea on how to manage the spacing. And it also helps me understand how many lines I'm going to create and how I'm going to center everything. Not to make it perfect, but just to make it more visually pleasing. So I think fear is going to be in the center right here. The fear. Then Lord is going to be here. Then of the is here. Is the beginning of maybe here. Then knowledge is going to be big. But, and then but a small one here. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do it. Fear. I'm just cutting this into lines just so that I can remember. Okay. Yeah, so that's just a rough plan. So I'm going to set this aside so that I know more or less how to manage the sizing and spacing. Okay, so for the first one, the word the, usually I skip the first word if the word isn't going to be emphasized because I want the important words to be positioned nicely. So I'm going to skip the word the and do the word. Okay, let me just set it here on the side. Okay. So fear and Lord. So let's see which style. Okay. So if you have this ebook, you could go through the styles and try to choose one. But for me, I have certain styles that I'm more drawn towards to pick. So I don't know. It's kind of like my signature style. So here it is. I really like to use decorative serif. It is the 15th style in this guide. So for the word fear, so I'm going to draw the letter F like this, E-A-R, and then Lord, L-O-R-D. Okay. So this is the basic style, but of course we can definitely style this a bit. So instead of drawing it solid like this, if you go back one page, you could see like different suggestions or different styles that you can draw the decorative serif in. You could draw it really thin to something really thick. Also, you could try something with space in the middle, like something that's hollow, like this. And you could also draw it really narrow. And here you could also do this in different sizes. So I think I want to choose this style. I want to create like a hollow shape there. So for example, the letter F, this is going to be hollow. For E, this is going to be hollow. For A, this is going to be hollow. For R, this is going to be hollow, and the other thick parts as well. So if this is your first time drawing this style, you could choose to do it simple like this. And if you don't know how to draw the letters, for example, here for the letter F, don't be intimidated to try this because I have broken it down for you to follow. For example, the letter F, you can start with a thick vertical block like this. And then the next thing I usually draw is the top part. So as you can see, it's going to be like a curve and then like a hook for that F, for the top part of the F, like that. And then next is I add the base. So it's also a curve. As you can see, the colored part right here, curve. And then I end it with the middle part right there. So since this is a style that I'm very familiar with already, I'm going to set this aside maybe here. Maybe here. Okay. Maybe like this. Yeah. Okay. So as I was saying, since this is a style that I'm very familiar with already, I may not need this as a reference, but if this is your first time, you could practice this first. Okay. So let's start with fear. So instead of a thick, solid block, we're going to make it hollow. like that. I'm just following the steps that I mentioned earlier, but modifying it a little bit. Like that. F. Okay. Next is the letter E. Same thing. Like a hollow space like that. Like that. Okay. This is how I draw my decorative serif style. A. Okay. Sometimes when creating lettering, you need to adjust adjust how you draw certain letters depending on the letters beside them. For example, the letter E here, you have like a thick lower right corner, right? So if we draw the A from here, it's going to look like it has a lot of space. So to adjust to that, I'm not going to draw the diagonal part of the letter A as a whole so that I can move it a little bit to the left, like this, so that the spacing is still not too far off, like that. That's going to be like the crossbar and the same curve like that. Okay. And then the last letter is R. Like that. Okay. As you notice, I drew this like farther or wider. That's because I needed space to add that hollow portion like that. Okay. Like that. Okay. Let me just fix some of the serifs. Like that. Okay. Next is the word Lord. It's going to have that same style. Since it has the same number of letters, more or less it's going to have the same. I mean, it's going to start at the same point. That's my L. And then for the letter O, I'll just draw it like smaller here on top. Like that. Okay. Next is the letter R. As you can see, the letters that I'm drawing are not perfect, so don't worry if you made a little bit of mistake. That's completely fine because it's not going to be that noticeable. For the leg of the R, like that, and the last letter is the letter D. Okay. Fear and Lord. Okay. I won't leave this hollow, so I'm just going to add some lines starting in the middle, just to add some a bit more personality. So for this one, you could add horizontal lines as well, or you could just add dots or whatever illustration that you want to add. You don't have to follow everything I'm doing exactly. You could feel free to explore however you want to design your lettering piece. What I'm doing is I'm just sharing you my process to help you see how you could create hand lettering pieces without having to worry or stress too much. Okay. Fear and Lord, what do you think? Okay. Just some finishing touches. I know, just some correcting. Anyway, next, or since we're done with this, let us go back to the first word, which is the word the. So for the word the, it's not going to be emphasized, right? Since it's not an important word, it's just an article. So for this one, I like to combine decorative serif style with my brush lettering style. So it is somewhere here. Here, brush pen script. It's number 18. So here's like a alphabet guide. So the is going to be a symbol like a T, H, and E. Yeah. So it's just a simple script. So for this one, I'm not going to press my brush pen as hard as I did here so that it's going to come out slightly thinner. But I'm still going to use pressure because for this style, you still need the thick and thin strokes. But I'm making it smaller. I'm not making it really, really big. So I'll just try to center this the best I can. Okay, this is my technique for centering. So I feel like the word the is slightly closer to the left, right? So I try not to finish my word right away. What I do is I do something like this and then see if I need to extend certain sides more just to center it better. So since it's closer here, for the T, the top part of the T, I'm not going to make it really long. I'm just going to make it shorter. Like that. And for the E, I'm just going to add some flourish to the other side like that to balance it or center it a little bit more. So that's like a little technique that I do in order to try to center my words a bit more. Since for this exercise or this hand lettering style, I'm not going to use any guides at all. Okay. So the fear of the Lord of the is going to be here. And then is going to be here on the other side. So for this one, you could just draw the words by itself. But for me, my personal style is I like to enclose certain words or the smaller words in some sort of ribbon. So let's just do that here. Like that, just a pair of wavy strokes. So it's going to be 2 because we're going to put in the words of and the. Okay, so we need like 2 floors. Okay, so since I did it here on this side, I just want to balance it out on the other side. So as you can see, of the and is the. So 2 words here and 2 words here both have both have the same number of letters, which makes it perfect for this style to balance both sides out. So since we did this ribbon this way, let's do it the other way here. More or less the same length. Perfect. Like that. And like that. Okay. Next is off and the. So with this little space, I'll just keep it like a super simple sans serif. So my super simple sans serif is something simpler than this. Oh, no, yeah. No. Yeah, I think simple sans serif will do. So if you need a reference, you could check out the first style, simple sans serif like this. Put this to the side. Okay. Of the OF. So I'll start with the center or the middle letter, which is H, to help me center this properly like that. Fear of the Lord is the okay. For these ribbons, I just want to add some details. Here are the sides. The fear of the Lord is perfect. What do you think so far? Okay. Beginning of. The next words are beginning of, and let's add that since we have like a wide space here. Beginning of. Okay. If you want to practice like the with, because the two words beginning and off, beginning is very long, off is very short. So it's going to be hard to center these, right? So what you can do is you could grab a separate sheet of paper and then practice the words beginning of, just to know, to get a feel of like the length. And then if you feel like what you've drawn is too narrow or too wide, you could just adjust later on. Okay. But for the beginning of, let's use something simple, like a simple serif. Do a simple serif style. So it's going to be like this. If you need guide on how to draw each letter step by step, you'll always refer to the guide. But again, this is a style that I've been doing for years and I'm super familiar with it. So I could just set this aside. But if you need to practice, feel free to practice it first so that you won't ruin your entire piece. So let's start beginning. Okay, so beginning BEGINNING space OF. So like 12. So by the sixth character, I should be more or less here. Okay. BEGINNING space OF. Okay. Wait, I think I miscalculated again. BEGINNING space OF. Yeah, it's 12. So BEGINN ING space OF. Oh yeah, that's correct. Okay. So beginning. So instead of making like just horizontal, like something that looks too stiff, I want to play it around, like make it more playful by rotating it a bit, adjusting the sizes for each letter. Like that. So I'm pressing the pen at full pressure so I get that really thick stroke. And I'll do that for the thick parts of the entire word so that there's some consistency in these letters. Like that. Okay. So if you don't know where to put the thick and thin parts, we can always refer to the alphabet guide right here. Okay, this is the middle. Yeah, more or less correct because I need the second N to be more or less in the middle. I could be small because of the leg of the R. Okay, then off is going to be somewhere here. So it should end more or less in the middle. So I'll just keep that in mind, but it doesn't have to be super exact since this is more of like a fun, playful hand lettering style. Like that. Okay. Beginning of. Okay, it's more or less in the center. That's what we want. Beginning of the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Okay. Okay. Knowledge is going to be here. So let's do it in script as well. So since we've used script, serif, sans, and serifs. So I feel like let's try script. Let's add something that's more loose or flowy so that it's not too stiff continuously. Knowledge. Okay. Sometimes I try to do something like this, like try to draw it. I try to simulate drawing the letter, but not actually touching the paper so that I know how to manage the space a little bit more. Okay. But before that, if you want to do the brush pen script style, you could go back and refer to the letters on how to draw the letters here. Okay, knowledge. So, okay, okay, it's too short, so I need to start maybe here. Yeah, okay, I think this is perfect. I'm going to move to the side a bit because I want to make it thick. Since we want to emphasize this, we're going to make it thicker. Because if it's in the same thickness as this, it might not stand out as much. So instead of just one stroke, I'm going to double the thick parts like that. Okay, for the K, usually the tail of the K, I usually leave it to the end so that it's not going to obstruct the next letters. Double thickness, like that. Double the thickness. Double the thickness. Double the thickness. Like that, okay. So more or less, it's the same size, which is perfect. Okay. There you go. I really like to add this effect. Something that looks like it's underlining. part of the word. Okay, let's make this top part thicker as well for consistency. Okay, perfect. Okay, and the G as well. That make this part thicker. Perfect. And the E. There. Okay. So for this one, I want to make it stand out a little more. So I'm going to add some line shadows to that. So normally I would use this, but since I'm in the studio and I have some pens here, I'm just going to grab my fine liner real quick. Here. Okay. So that I don't have to strain my hand too much by controlling the pressure. So yeah, if you have a fine liner, you could use this as well. If not, you could use your brush pen too. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, if you don't have this brush pen, it's completely fine. What you could do is you could just trace the outline, or you could just draw the outlines first and then shade it in. It's fine. Using brush pen just speeds up the process. So everything to the lower left or lower right, I'm going to add some line to it. That, okay. There, knowledge. Okay. I kind of want to add the same effect to the first two important words, fear and Lord. So let me just do that. Let me make this thicker so that it's not going to get lost when I add the line shadow. Oh, there. Okay, that looks nice. Perfect, perfect. Okay, next word is but. So but is going to be small. And since there's a small space here, I'll just try to fit it in there. It's going to be in simple sans serif style. Simple sans serif style. Okay. As you can see, I try to mix in symbol styles here to balance everything out. Because if all of your words are heavily embellished, it's gonna look a bit messy. So I'm switching back to the brush pen and adding the word but here in the middle. Simple and easy like that. But fools despise. Okay, for fools despise, since I want to emphasize it, let's try another serif style. Something that's thick. Maybe like a slab serif style. Slab serif. Okay. Slab serif could be something like this. It could be thin. It could be really, really thick. You also experiment with the height, something tall to something short. So here is your alphabet guide for slab serif. Or you just follow how I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna add fulls despice both in the same style. So for this one, it's gonna be something like this, where it's not gonna be strictly horizontal. You want some playfulness in the design as well. So FOOLSDISPISE. So fulls is shorter by 2 letters than despise. So I need fulls to finish before the word or before the center line. Okay. So for slab serif, I'm using this, but I'm going to use hard pressure, and I'm going to rotate my pen so that I get the thickness, the maximum thickness. For example, for vertical lines, I'm going to hold my pen like this as I draw it down so that it's going to be thick. Because if I draw horizontal lines, even if I am pushing my pen to maximum pressure, it's going to be thin. So it has to be to the right direction. So I'm going to try to give it the same width as this. F. Okay. Since you want to keep the size smaller, so instead of doing it horizontally twice, I'll just stack them vertically. Like that. Okay. Which I think works with the word fools, right? Fools is not something super serious or correct. So something that's not conventional within this word might highlight the meaning of the word like that. Like that. Fools with the spice. We thicken this point in the middle like that. Yes. Like that. Okay. Move this up. Oh, let me just move my paper. After this, 2 more letters to fit in this space. I feel like I'm gonna go over, but it's fine. Maybe I'll just make S smaller, like this. The B is gonna be big, really big. That, okay. You see that? I try to manage the spacing by trying to adjust certain words and position of letters. Okay. Next words are wisdom and instruction. So I try not to mix in so many different styles. Here we already have a lot of different styles. So for the words wisdom and instruction, I'll just use the same brush script style, but make it a bit more playful. Not really playful, but something that looks less serious. So wisdom and instruction should fit here. So I'll try to manage that. No. wisdom, the ampersand, because ampersand requires less space compared to the word and. The structure. T-I. Okay. It's not perfectly centered, but it's not too far off. And instruction. So let's just add some flourish. Like that. Okay. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise instruction. So the last part is just a verse reference. So for the verse reference, we want it to be very subtle. So we're just going to add it in style number 2, which is a simple handwritten sense. So it's just basic handwriting. But challenge here is just try to make sure you center it. Proverbs 1:7. Okay. We're done with the letter piece. So what's left to do is to add decorations. So let's just quickly do that. So here, I feel like there's like a lot of empty space here. So I'm going to add some sparkles and dots into like a dome shape on top, and maybe add some brace here to the side and add some more dots to tie everything together. There. I think the top part is decorated. It doesn't have to be like a perfect dome. Knowledge. Okay, I think I want to add some race, focusing on knowledge. So trying raise toward knowledge. Look, I did the main race first. I'm gonna add in the smaller race. Like that. There. And then lastly, add some dots here as well, just to tie everything together. Random dots. If you're working digitally, or if you've followed my digital lettering tutorials before, you know that I like to add grains to my work. So basically that's the same thing here. So yeah, here is the final work. Yeah, just... So here, the fear of the Lord is a beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom. Wait, let me just add some 2 bullets beside but, just to give it like some sort of stop, because it is going to separate the 2 phrases or 2 parts of this quote, right? Anyway, so yeah, so this is the finished artwork. I hope you enjoyed drawing along, had so much fun creating this. I hope you had so much fun creating as well. If you struggle with picking lettering styles, you can go grab my lettering styles collection. I'll put the link in the description below, where you can get 24 lettering styles listed here. And you get like details of each style, some explanations, and a sample alphabet guide, and also step-by-step instructions how to draw each letter, broken down to make it easier for you to follow, so that it's not going to be too intimidating for you to try new styles. So yeah, if you follow along this tutorial or this video, share your work with me. I would love to see what you create. If you create the same quote, or even if you create a different quote, I would love to see them. So yeah, let's chat in the comment section. Let me know if you learned something. Let us know in the comment section. And yeah, I hope to see you in a next tutorial video. Let me know what you want to learn next. Hope you have a good day. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.